Chapter 14. Captain Newport does not return in October with new supplies, but instead of being hungrier, we have finally gotten through the sickness and we are healthy again. The tribes who are our friends must have convinced our enemies to stop attacking us, and it is no longer dangerous to leave the fort to hunt or fish. We have a pitiful harvest of wheat and vegetables from our gardens, but the Indians often bring us food from their own harvest to trade. The air is filled with birds flying south for the winter, and it is easy to shoot enough for a meal. We have more rain, and the river water is good to drink. Captain Smith has been put in charge of trading with the Indians. If we ever run short of corn or meat, he takes a few men and some beads and copper for trading, and sails off in the shallop for a few days to visit some of the Indian villages. They always come back with the shallop full of supplies. Captain Smith is also in charge of getting houses built for all of us. With the weather turning colder, we can't keep sleeping in our rotting tents. He sets for us the goal of houses for everyone and cheers us on, exhorting us to push ahead. We work hard together, Captain Smith always working the hardest, with some felling trees, some splitting wood for clapboard, some cutting reeds for thatch. We use shaped timbers to frame the houses, and the carpenters teach us how to weave sticks together to make a mesh. Then coat the mesh with a mixture of river clay and straw to make wattle and daub walls. We bundle the reeds to make thatch roofs. I never I have never helped to build a house before, and it makes me proud to see my work. I see what Captain Smith meant about us needing to stand on many legs to survive. We have to work together. I would never be able to build a house all by myself. Some of the gentlemen work hard with us too, until their hands are rough as commoners' hands. By the time the weather turns cold, we have put up warm, dry houses for everyone, even the servants. In early December, Captain Smith chooses 9 men to sail with him in the shallop up the Chickahominy River. They are hoping to find the passage to the Pacific Ocean and the Orient, and they think Chickahominy might lead to it. When I ask Captain Smith why this passage to the Pacific is so important, he explains it to me. The nobles in England want spices and silks and ivory. The best place to get them is the Orient, China, and India. Between England and the Orient, going east over land, are the Ottoman Turks. The Turks gladly sell us all the Chinese silks and Indian spices we want. They buy it for tuppence and then sell it to England for bags of gold. If we can find a way to the Orient over the ocean going west, we can skip the Turks altogether, and that would make the Virginia Company investors very happy and very rich. Captain Smith and his men leave on a frosty morning, and we all wish them well. Once Captain Smith is gone through, the gentlemen stop working, and even the common men shirk their chores. If it wasn't for us servants, the food wouldn't get cooked, the water wouldn't get toted, and the wood wouldn't get chopped for the fires. One cold morning in mid-December, Richard and I are working with the embers that are all that is left of our cabin's fire, trying to bring them to flame. Richard sprinkles dry moss on the embers, and I blow on them softly. At the first hint of flame, we add twigs. It feels good to be cooperating with Richard, to be his friend. Come on, fire, Richard coaxes. I rub my hands together to warm them. It was Abram and Henry's turn to feed the fire during the night, but they, just like everyone else, don't think much of chores these days. The twigs catch, we add some bigger chips of wood, keep blowing, and soon we have a good fire going. I cough on the smoke. We don't have a proper hearth with a chimney like Mum and I used to have in our cottage. This is just a circle of stones on our dirt floor, and to let the smoke out, there's a hole at the top of the eaves. Our cabin is always smoky. It doesn't even have any windows, and it has begun to leak in heavy rains. But it is still better, a lot better than a rotting tent. Within minutes, there is a voice at the door. We need an ember, comes the demand. Rich and I look at each other. Every morning, it is the same. As soon as anyone sees smoke coming from our cabin, they come for embers, because they all let their fires go completely out during the night. I open the door and find Master Crofts dressed in his thick wool cassock, but looking rather blue-lipped from the cold. I take his spoon, fish out an ember from our fire, and send him on his way. He doesn't even thank me. I think they'd freeze if they didn't have us around, I say. And starve, says Richard. Next comes Master Holgrave, then Master Firth, then Nathaniel, who has become a soldier, asking for an ember for the soldier's cabin. Look how disciplined our soldiers are, Richard says after Nathaniel leaves. Richard puts an ember into a pan to take to Reverend Hunt, in case his fire too has gone out. I go to see if anyone has bothered to start the hominy in the big communal cookpot. I hear one of the guards call out, "It is the shallop returned. Hello, explorers, have you found